Josh,
Yeah.
your lighting is really dark.
Yeah, I'm trying to fix it right now. Well, it's too light, I think. Hold on one second.
Looks like you're tan from Mexico.
You look tan.
I should be. No, I'm kidding.
Your lighting looks illuminating.
I hope that's good. I will be going to Mexico.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
Where are you going?
Puerto Vallarta.
Oh, I'm going to Tulum,
When?
December 14th.
Oh, you got a little while. Something to look forward to.
It's 7 on the button.
Are we ready to go?
If the secretary is.
I think we're ready to go.
All right, we are live. Here we go. I'm going to call to order this West Hollywood Rent Stabilization Commission meeting for Thursday, July 22nd. Richard, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Secretary, can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Harris,
Here.
Commissioner Kirby's,
Here.
Commissioner Maggio,
Here.
Commissioner Montemayor,
Here.
Commissioner Topshin,
Here.
Vice Chair Copeland,
Here.
Chair Marks.
Present. Thank you for that. Moving on to the approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Motion to approve.
And a second,
Second.
Mr. Secretary. Oh, sorry, that's all we need. All right, and then approval of the minutes from July 8th meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Okay. And do we have any public comments for the evening?
Well, I think you have to take a roll call.
Oh, thank you. Can we do a roll call on both of those, please? Starting with the approval of tonight's agenda.
Yes, Commissioner Harris,
Aye.
Commissioner Kirby's,
Aye.
Commissioner Maggio,
Aye.
Commissioner Montemayor,
Aye.
Commissioner Topshin,
Aye.
Vice Chair Copeland,
Aye.
Chair Marks.
Aye. And then a roll call on the approval of the minutes for last meeting.
Commissioner Harris,
Aye.
Commissioner Kirby's,
Aye.
Commissioner Maggio,
Aye.
Commissioner Montemayor,
Aye.
Commissioner Topshin,
Aye.
Vice Chair Copeland,
Aye.
Chair Marks.
Aye. Thank you all. Moving on to number 5, public comment. Do we have any public comments for the evening?
None at this time.
All right. Moving right along to the manager's report, please.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners, Jonathan Holla, Rent Stabilization and Housing Manager. And here is the look ahead. As you know, we had an appeal scheduled for this evening, but the appellant withdrew the appeal. So tonight we'll just be doing the commission liaison appointments to other commissions and advisory boards. On the 12th, there is an appeal. You'll also receive the housing element update from staff. The report on an amendment of the schedule for the inclusionary housing program for 2021-2022 will also be presented at that time. On the 26th, another appeal. That's when staff will come back with the regulation updates related to the changes that you are looking for on the interest on security deposit regulations. We'll also announce the security deposit interest rate for the past year at that time. On the 9th of September, another appeal, same thing for September 23rd. On the 14th of October, the ad hoc committee on valuation guidelines will be returning with their report. And for the October meeting so far, we don't have any appeals on the look ahead, but I anticipate that that will change. Just some notes, the division's biannual newsletter to tenants and landlords just went out. So expect that if you are a rent stabilized tenant or the owner of a rent stabilized property in your mailbox shortly. A reminder that the eviction moratorium is in place through September 30th of this year. And I'd also like to reiterate that the rent relief program was extended, as we discussed at the last meeting. It now allows for a landlord to recover 100% of unpaid rental debt for eligible tenants. I strongly encourage anyone who has rental arrears through the COVID emergency to visit housingiskey.com or housing.ca.gov. Even if you're not sure, go to that site, look at the information, click on the application link and apply. And I also encourage landlords to be cooperative in the process. They can recover 100% and possibly prospective rent as well. So it's a very dynamic program, and I encourage people to participate. If anyone has any questions about that, they're welcome to reach out to the division, 323-848-6450, or rsh@weho.org. That's all I have. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to take those now.
Commissioners, any questions? Commissioner Ayers.
Yeah, I know there was a council meeting, a city council meeting earlier this week, and I think on the consent calendar was the commission's recommendations on updates to the ordinance regarding harassment of tenants. That passed, didn't it?
That's correct. As I'm sure you'll recall, that item came to the commission and staff integrated many of your recommendations into the actual ordinance. It was passed on first reading on June 21st, and it did pass the full council on the 19th. And so that will be effective August 18th.
Great. I just wanted to hear the update for this meeting. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great question. Anyone else? Commissioners? All right. Thank you for that report. Moving on to commission comments. Commissioners, do we have any comments this evening from any of you? Yes, Commissioner Kerpies.
I just wanted to add on to the manager's report about the rent relief program, that for those tenants who may have borrowed money from relatives or put on your credit card, that created debt that is not to your landlord. I would suggest, and I would encourage them to go online and apply for August and September's rent in advance, so that in a way that is some sort of payment that you wouldn't otherwise be qualified to be refunded for, because the debt relief is only for debt that's owed to your landlord. So all that other debt to your that you may owe friends or family, you're not going to be able to recoup that directly, but this is a way to recoup that. So even if you've gotten all your EDD, your unemployment checks, they're all caught up maybe, and you might feel like you have a lot of cash in your wallet or in the bank right now, I would encourage you to apply to the program so that for August and September, you could possibly be approved for rent, and that would take care of some of the debt that you have, towards other family members or entities. Thank you.
Great suggestion. Thank you. Commissioner Maggio, I saw a hand, I believe.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Kerpies, can you repeat where to apply for that? Because you sort of faded in and out.
Yeah, it's housingiskey.com. That's housingiskey.com. Or I believe the manager also said, well, he'll have to repeat that at their website, but it's housingiskey.com and housing.ca.gov. Is that the other one?
Yeah, that's, I had to check too. Housing.ca.gov. That's right. It's the same site.
Perfect. Any
Thank
other commissioner comments this evening? All righty, moving on. We do not have any appeals. So number 10 on our agenda is new business. A few days ago, maybe it was just yesterday, I sent out an email to each one of you requesting if you are interested in an appointment to a board or commission in the city of West Hollywood. A handful of you replied, some are unavailable to do so. A few have shown interest. Anyone that didn't respond is welcome to express interest this evening. Just for anyone listening or for our commissioners who can't remember them all, including myself, there is the Arts and Cultural Affairs Commission, the Business License Commission, the Historic Preservation Commission, Human Services, Planning, Public Facilities, Public Safety, and Transportation. And then the advisory boards are the Disabilities Advisory Board, Lesbian and Gay Advisory Board, Russian Advisory Board, Senior Advisory Board, Transgender Advisory Board, and Women's Advisory Board. So I will start with the two people who emailed me expressing interest. Commissioner Ayers has expressed interest in the Transgender Advisory Board liaison position and the Senior Advisory Board position. And then Commissioner Copeland has expressed interest in the Historic Preservation Commission and the Public Safety Commission liaison. So if there are other commissioners who are interested in those liaison positions or any of the others or are unavailable, I will open the floor to a short discussion and then we'll go from there. Yes, Commissioner Maggio.
Yes, I just want to say that I have been liaison to all of those commissions at one time or another, and I just encourage the new commissioners that this is a very exciting opportunity to meet fellow commissioners and to learn greatly about all these various commissions. Of course, we make our presentation and deliver what we feel that's important for them to hear about housing and its and rent issues, and it's especially important in planning and certainly senior advisory and human services and public safety. They, in a sense, they're all joined together. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other comments? All right, seeing none, yes, Commissioner Kirby.
I'm sorry, I don't know, were we just gonna go off of these two for an hour, or we were talking about all of them still?
We're just talking about all of them. So if you
Okay.
have interest in those or others, please.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of time, but if no one else is interested in doing it, I wouldn't mind doing transportation.
Okay. Great, thank you. All right, any others? I know some of you have emailed me about scheduling, so that's perfectly fine. And if there's no other interest, I will express interest in human services. So I want to turn to Commissioner Ayers and Commissioner Copeland. You both expressed interest about two. Are you interested in doing both? I don't want to overburden you, but it's better that we have someone that can go to them, even if it's every other meeting or whatnot, than having none. So, but feel free to express your schedules and timing. We'll start with Commissioner Ayers.
I'm interested in doing both. And, you know, the Women's Advisory Board, they meet on the fourth Thursday of each month. So that directly conflicts with our meetings. However, I am still in contact with Larissa Fuchs, the city staff member for the Advisory Board, and I'm still, connected with them as having served on that board for about 5 or 6 years. So I'm kind of like connected with that as well. So yeah, and I really wanted to do both the Senior Advisory Board and the Transgender Advisory Board, because I think both those populations have unique challenges and needs in the realm of housing. So I thought it important to connect with them.
Perfect. Thank you for that comment. And I think that's great with the Women's Advisory Board. If you're half on, half off, I think the benefit is that we want to express what we're doing to them, because as Commissioner Maggio said, they're all connected, right? We impact each other, and our city's small enough that what transportation does affects human services in some way. So if we're more informed, and then vice versa, if you bring back information from what they're working on in their key projects, that's helpful to us. So that would be great. And then yes, Commissioner Maggio.
I just would like to add that in the past, if one of us happen to be at any of those meetings, we can be liaison, even though we are not officially associated or chosen it. So there's been times that 2 commissioners have from rent stabilization have been at a particular commission meeting, and each have spoken. So we could fill in for each other. So it doesn't always have to be that exact.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I think that's a great point. If you happen to be attending one of these commissions or advisory boards, feel free to step into that role if you feel comfortable, and speak on our behalf, and then report back to us as well. And then I'll turn to Commissioner Copeland about whether you want to do both or one.
Thank you. I think that was a sort of a first and second choice thing, but I could certainly do historic preservation or public safety, and maybe add Senior Advisory Board to that if no one wants it, because those are meeting on different nights. It doesn't conflict with our schedule or with the Monday night schedules of the other 2. So I'm certainly willing to do any one or 2, depending on what my fellow commissioners would like to do, and what we think is urgent or more relevant. So my first choice would be HPC and perhaps the Senior Advisory Board, but I certainly have no problem with doing public safety instead, or I'm open to anything really, but those are my preferences. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I do note that Commissioner Aries said she was interested in Senior Advisory, I believe. So if it makes sense, I'll throw out kind of what I've summarized here, then feel free to correct the record. Commissioner Aries is going to do the Transgender Advisory Board and the Senior Advisory Board, and then a potential here and there with the Women's Advisory Board, given your connection to staff and parties on that advisory board. Commissioner Copeland will do Historic Preservation Commission, and then as you see fit, public safety, schedule pending. I will do Human Services Commission, and Commissioner Kirpies will do the Transportation Commission. Commissioner Maggio, I see you. I'll be right.
I just want to make a comment that usually the chair will, what we've left out one of the most important, and that's the Planning Commission. And I think you might want, the chair would like to represent us there. I think that's a suggestion.
I will certainly pop into those, as I do now since I work in the field. Their meetings conflict with some of my work, so I don't want to put my name on that 100%, but I do attend as many of those as I can, so I will continue to do so. And now that we're passing the point of actually doing liaison appointments, I will feel comfortable announcing my presence there as part of the Rent Stabilization Commission, and bring back what they're doing, and vice versa. So I appreciate that comment. Given that summary that I just made, does anyone want to correct the record, add additionals, feel free, or remove one that I inadvertently put on your name? Seeing none, I will leave those as is. And if they become too burdensome or you want to join one later, feel free to bring it up at a next meeting. We can agendize it and go from there. Thank you all for that. Moving on to item 11, items from staff. Do we have any?
Just one item, Chair. The city's Government Alliance on Race and Equity is presenting a racial justice conversation with Dr. Robin DiAngelo. She's the author of the book, White Fragility, Why It's So Hard for White People to Talk About Racism. And the session will include Dr. DiAngelo. There's an opportunity to ask her questions, and that will be via Zoom for city officials from 6 to 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday, July 28th. And it is mandatory for city officials to participate. If you can't participate on July 28th, it will be available to be viewed streaming for up to 30 days after the event date. So you should have received an email regarding that. If you haven't, please reach out to me or Roger and we'll communicate that to you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Kerpes.
Yeah, I just had a question about that. I'm going to try my best to be there, and I think that it's great that the city is incorporating that into their training programs. But I wasn't aware that they were doing that. When did the city begin doing this? And are they doing more? Are they going to be throughout the year? Just trying to figure out what the time commitment will be.
I don't know. I just got the email relatively recently myself. And then I think it was conveyed to commissioners pretty shortly thereafter. And I don't know if there's going to be more coming. I'm not on that committee, and I don't know what the clerk may or may not have coming down the pike. But if you want me to follow up, I certainly can.
I would just, if anyone remembers when the council talked about this. I mean, I don't go to all the council meetings, but this is just new information to me. It's good information, but it's just new.
All right. No other items from staff. We will move on to public comments. Have we had any public comments join in the last 20 minutes?
We have not.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on to item 13, any further items from commissioners? Yes, Commissioner Copeland.
Yes, I just wanted to mention that anyone who missed the housing element workshops or the public scoping meetings for the environmental impact report, they can find that information and links to those workshops at www.weho.org/housing element. There's a lot of good information on there if anyone's interested in catching up on that. Thank you. That's all I have.
Wonderful, thank you. And Commissioner Aries.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you, Chair Marks, for kind of reviving our Commissioner Liaison program. I do think that is super important. I think the more outreach we do, the more our residents are going to know about what's available to them as far as housing services and what rent stabilization is all about and who is eligible. So, you know, the more we get the word out, the better for our residents. So I want to thank you for that. And also, I just want to note that it was Robin Eason, E-A-S-O-N, from city staff who sent out an email 2 days ago. That was on July 20th, a reminder for the racial justice conversation with Dr. Robin DiAngelo. So if you want to look into your emails, you should have received that email 2 days ago from Robin Eason from the city staff. and it should have the link to connect to the session. And it also gives an option to respond to her if you're not available on the July date to do the second date.
Wonderful. Thank you for those comments. Very much appreciated. Any further comments from commissioners? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to adjournment. This meeting is adjourned. The next meeting of the Rent Stabilization Commission will be held at 7 p.m. on August 12th, 2021 via teleconference. Thank you all. Appreciate the short meeting.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Good job on the short meeting, Chair.
Everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye all.